It's finally tomorrow, Sean. I worried so much that I couldn't even eat dinner tonight. What should I say when I greet them? Should I wear a one-piece dress? Do you think my normal makeup is okay? Should I wear the earrings I got for Christmas?
You seem really nervous, Elsie. I think anything's fine. But I mean, why are you so nervous? It's not as if this is a job interview.
Of course I'm nervous. It's my first time meeting your parents.
I understand worrying about clothes, but I don't think they'll care about your earrings. I don't think you need to put this much painstaking effort into this.
But first impressions are important, right? As your fiancé, I have to impress them in every way I can.
You're really serious about this.
Come on, it should matter to you too. I'm just wondering, but what have you told your parents about me?
Just your name and age. On your job too, I guess.
Really? Nothing else?
It's just how it is. I'm busy with work, so I don't really have long talks with my parents. Do people really tell their parents that much about their fiancés?
I'm not so sure. I've told my parents all sorts of things about you, Sean.
It's just my personality, I guess. So my parents barely know anything about you, Elsie. Doesn't it make it easier to talk to them because they haven't formed an impression of you yet?
That honestly just puts more pressure on me. I guess I'll just have to tell them about myself.
It'll be fine if you just act like normal. You're just lovely as your natural self, Elsie.
Really? Do you mean that?
Yeah. My parents are both looking forward to tomorrow. Of course I am too. I'll be going to bed soon.
Yep. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Make sure you get some proper sleep.
Okay.
Why did you run away? Where are you now? My mom was asking me what that was all about. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I was just surprised. Why is my dad at your parents' house?
Huh? That's my dad.
Your dad? That man? But he looks just like my dad, who died when I was 10. No, he actually is him. I don't get it.
What? Just calm down, Elsie. He must just look similar?
Sorry. But I don't think he's just a stranger that looks similar.
Maybe he looked familiar to you because he's my dad?
Sean, you and your dad are related by blood, right? He's not your stepdad, is he? I'm sorry to keep asking.
Yup. He's my biological father.
What the? Have you been living with him since you were born? He didn't just show up 16 years ago, did he?
Look, this is enough. What are you ranting about? You suddenly ran out of the house. That's beyond rude. Think about what you just did. You and I are engaged, Elsie. There's no way we're blood relatives. How could my dad also be yours? Stop asking such weird questions.
I'm sorry. I was just so shocked. But he really is too similar for this to just be a coincidence. He's got that distinctive big mole under his right eye.
You last saw him 16 years ago, right? Maybe your memory of him is hazy.
I still have photos of him. And I remember him as clear as day. I remember his face, his voice, even his habit of scratching his head when he laughed. He was a kind and non-confrontational person.
But he died, right?
Yeah, but the whole thing was really weird. One of his close friends told us he'd been hiding his illness from us. The friend said my dad didn't want us to see him slowly dying, so he ran off to a new city without telling us. But it's not as if I went to his funeral, and I don't know where his grave is. Maybe he really was alive this whole time.
I keep telling you, he's just a stranger who happens to look similar. Anyway, you need to come back to the house. You can't just leave the house like this. My parents are really baffled now.
But I can't be calm in front of your dad.
Just come back, okay? Today was a disaster. My parents probably got a terrible first impression of you.
I'm sorry. I was just taken by surprise.
It was like I said, wasn't it? It was just your mistake. I even asked my dad about it after, but he just laughed and said no. Ugh, you really are so dramatic.
But I sent you a photo of my dad earlier. If he looks that similar, it's only natural for me to be surprised.
Yeah, I saw it. I'll admit, they're very similar, but it was your misunderstanding. You should apologize to my parents again next time. Oh, my mom was furious. She said it was so inappropriate for you to run out of the house like that.
I'm so sorry.
Oh well. Like I said earlier, this isn't enough to change my mind about us. Although this first meeting couldn't have gone worse.
Thanks. I apologize.
Just watch your attitude the next time you see my parents. You should try to improve their impression of you before the wedding next year.
Again, I'm sorry. I'll do my best to make your parents like me.
Okay.
Sean, can we talk? It's something important.
What is it, Elsie? Did something happen?
I want to call off our engagement.
What? Break the engagement? What? Why? You need to explain properly. Hey! Hey, are you there? Why are you calling off our marriage suddenly? Why are you deciding this all on your own?
I've really thought about this.
What's your problem, Elsie? What could have possibly made you want this?
4 days ago, your dad got in touch with me. He opposed our marriage.
My dad? Why? Oh, I get it. He must have been pretty harsh to you about your first time meeting, so now you want to call it off. Oh, well, I guess my parents really did get a terrible first impression of you. I can understand their complaints. What did he say? I'll give him some excuse, so don't worry about it.
No, that's not it.
Then what was it?
He told me everything. Your dad actually is my dad.
Come on now. Quit screwing around.
Just listen to me. When he saw my face the other day, he thought I looked like his estranged daughter. When your dad saw how I reacted to seeing him, he was convinced that it was his daughter. My mom remarried 10 years ago and changed our surname. So when you told him my name, he didn't think it would be his own daughter.
I don't get it at all.
This is going to be long. 27 years ago, my dad married my mom. But there was a coworker who was interested in my dad, romantically. A woman called Jay.
But that's the same name as my mom. Are you saying that was my mom?
One day, my dad made a big mistake at work and tried to hide it. Of course, that was wrong of him. He was scared of his boss and didn't want him to find out. But Jay found out about his mistake. And that's when Jay became pregnant. That's how you were born, Sean.
Me? So you're saying that you and I are half siblings, Elsie?
Yeah, that's right. So that's why it's impossible for you and I to get married, Sean.
So he had an affair? No way! My dad was always living with us. I think that's enough of this nonsense.
Apparently, my dad felt bad for Jay, so he went between both houses. He was living a double life.
Dad always tries to please everyone. So I can see that happening.
But of course, he kept Jay and his family with her, secret from my mom.
But if that's true, Dad really is a scumbag.
I can't deny that. After that, his double life continued for about 10 years. But Jay gradually started to want Dad for herself. So she started to threaten Dad. She said that she would hurt me and Mom unless Dad left his other family. Jay would sometimes start going crazy with a knife. So Dad was scared for me and Mom's safety. So he left us and chose Jay.
And then what happened in the next chapter?
You don't believe me.
I mean, I can't just believe something so crazy so suddenly.
Then your dad and I can have a paternity test. If the result says he's my father, you'll have to believe me.
Well, maybe.
We can also check his marriage certificate records.
Dad and your mom are divorced, right?
Yeah. After we got news of his death, a parting letter and divorce papers arrived. Since he was keeping his whereabouts secret, he wanted to make sure my mom was able to get a divorce before he died. She wasn't sure what to make of it either, so she waited a little while, but eventually filed for divorce. Maybe she noticed that Dad was hiding something.
I don't think you could completely hide something like that for 10 years.
So next comes the important part.
What? There's more? Your story's not finished? It's too long.
Just listen to me a little more. Dad told me about his life after he moved in permanently with Jay. He said that she took all the money that he earned and made him do all the housework. He was treated like a slave.
What is this? Maybe Mom did give him a hard time, but isn't he exaggerating? Dad did choose to be with Mom after all.
He told me about you too, Sean.
About me? What did he say?
He said that you've inherited your mother's dangerous control freak personality, so I shouldn't marry you.
What's he playing at? He's saying bad things about his own son to his fiancée. He's my dad, he can't do that. Just ignore that nonsense.
He also told me something that you said, Sean. You were just going to use me as a slave from the beginning, right? Just like your mom did to Dad.
Really? Oh, of course not.
But Dad told me all sorts of things you said about me. Calling me your maid and your livestock?
Oh, I was just drunk when I said that. I wouldn't have said it otherwise.
Wouldn't have said it, huh? But you must have thought it if you said it.
Elsie, who do you believe, me or him? As soon as you found out he's your dad, you're believing every word he says. But he's the trash who abandoned you.
I know that. I can't just forgive him for what he did. But I got nervous, so I asked around about what kind of person you are. So I found out. Everyone says that you've got some serious anger issues. You've even made a scene over something small and been arrested before, right? You were even reported by an ex-girlfriend who you persistently stalked.
Who told you this? It's a misunderstanding. She was just a bitter ex making up stories.
But you even followed her to her parents' house and broke their window, didn't you? Your ex even got PTSD because of you.
Whatever. I wouldn't have done those things if she didn't betray my trust. It's her fault.
See? This is what I mean. You're not even remorseful? That's not normal, Sean.
I'm perfectly normal. Are you going to abandon me too?
But I told you earlier. We might be siblings, related by blood. We can't continue this relationship.
What does it matter?
We just can't.
What's the problem here? Even if we are siblings, and we get married, if no one else knows, we're just a normal couple to them. Or are you worried about the children we'd have? That we don't need to have kids?
That's not the problem here. Anyway, I don't feel like I can stay with you, Sean. I'm all confused because of everything I've learned recently. But even if I calm down, I can't stay with you. I can't do this.
I don't agree to this. I don't want us to separate.
Please.
You just try leaving me. I'll chase you to the ends of the world. Don't think I'll let you get away from me.
Stop it. Are you gonna stalk me like you did to your ex?
It's your fault for trying to abandon me. If anything, I'm the victim here.
I have a witness who will attest to you saying that you'll treat me like a slave. I'm just trying to protect myself.
Don't try me. You won't just walk away scot-free from leaving me. And neither will your family.
What are you planning to do? Please, leave my family out of this.
Well, that depends on you, Elsie. Don't make me angry, you witch.
This is the same thing that your mom did to Dad. Threatening someone with violence is a crime.
Shut up! Now you just shut your mouth and do as I say. Wait a second. What's happening? There's a police car in front of my house. Did you do something?
I haven't done anything. But Dad did say he'd be reporting you and your mom to the police, Sean.
What? What for?
You and your mom have both threatened people who you dislike in the past. They didn't do anything to you, but you forced them to apologize. You even tried to extort money from some. The victims stayed quiet because they were too scared of you. But Dad said he'd cooperate and encourage them to report them to the law.
This is ridiculous! He'd go this far to stop our marriage? Seriously, is there even any evidence?
Dad says he has audio recordings of both of you when you were threatening your victims.
Stop it! Please, help me.
I think I see now. A glimpse of how Dad must have been treated by his nightmare wife and son. I don't forgive Dad, but I do empathize with him.
Elsie, think about this. Come on. We're getting married, right? We were gonna be happy together.
Yes, I'll be happy, all right. Just without you. So the police went to Sean and his mother to take them away peacefully for questioning. But that wasn't happening. They got violent. So they both had resisting arrest added to their charges. They would have been better off cooperating, but they revealed their true nature. It turned out that Sean and his mom had a wider network of terror than we first thought. They had been blackmailing and threatening a lot of friends and neighbors. Some of the victims worked with Dad to report them, so the two of them were convicted of multiple charges. Of course, I called off my engagement with Sean. I did receive threats of violence from Sean, so I could have sued for emotional damages. But I made him promise to never approach me again, in exchange for not pushing a lawsuit. I was saved by Dad in the end, but it's not as if he redeemed himself completely for his past actions. I haven't forgiven him for that. But I hope he can free himself from Jay and Sean eventually. We'll discuss with a lawyer so that he can divorce her and cut ties with them completely. I won't ever get back the 16 years of life that I lost to my father. But we've still got the rest of our lives. I want to use that time to rebuild our relationship as father and daughter.